DonInLondon, hello, it's January 16th, 2010. My video is all about recovery from addiction to either substance or behaviour. Sorry, I was having a senior moment there. Recovery from addiction to either substance or behaviour. My substance along the way was alcohol. My behaviour, cross-addicting, because it's not only substance which can find us in addiction, I guess it's also behaviour too. My behaviour, workaholic, relationships, you name it, anything to fix the gap inside, that feeling of loneliness, emptiness, not sure about life, and predominantly fear. But we have to know what fear is first, and if we've had it for most of our lives, and we live with it, we don't know what it is, until maybe we take away those things which are filling the gap. So take away the alcohol, the workaholism, the relationship isms, and all the collecting isms, and trying to fill what is an enormous gap inside with nothing, and then starting with good things can feel very awkward indeed. And that's when we really start to understand what fear might be. Fear of not being good enough, who we are, having no identity, and wondering if it's okay to have a blank page of life to stare at. And the answer is yes. A blank page every day is pretty darn good, because it means that we have room to grow. And room to grow is what life is all about. And all through my drinking years, I was growing and growing and growing, and learning and learning and learning, and filling myself up all the time to try and make myself feel better, rather than live well and feel okay. And it took me an awful long time to realise that driving myself to perfection in all directions at once was actually absolutely undermining any sort of serenity I might find in a day. And also, what is spiritual? You know, this thing that we are told about, either through our religious connections or just by life in general. What is spiritual? Well, the conclusion I've come to, which is very much in line with what Gandhi said about life and God. God is truth, God is love, God works through people. So if I can see the truth of now, in the moment, that's my spiritual connection. And it's not the truth I want, or the truth I would manufacture, or the truth that I believe right now. It's the absolute truth of how things are today, reality. So spiritual for me is being a part of reality, living reality as it is, and being able to cope with it. So that means for me, the truth of now, that spiritual is good and bad. The wonderful experiences and the sad experiences, and knowing that I have all these emotions inside me for a good reason. So whether it's a good emotion because it's seen to be good, or a negative emotion because it's seen to be unhelpful, we need the negative in order to know what the positive is. So it's like everything in life. There is a positive and negative reaction available to us depending on our life situation, our life experiences, and what is going on for us, and what we observe in the world is going on for other people as well. And sometimes people say compare and despair, because what do? We don't compare with people who have less than us, we compare with people who we think have more than us. And that's most often in material ways, or the way it looks for them, and what they say and share about their lives. And truthfully, it's quite unimportant. All we need to do is find our own serenity, live our own life experience, and be okay that spiritual is the positive and the negative of life. How else would we learn about what it is to be a human being? Being in the moment of now. So, what's helped me find myself back on track? I'm an addict in recovery, which means that on a daily basis, 24 hours, I try to do the next right thing. And what helps me do that? Family, friends, community, professionals, all these help me along the way. And a big part of my life is fellowship, and that's the fellowship of Alcoholics Anonymous. And I'm very fortunate, because there is only one qualification for being in it, and that is a desire to stop drinking. And once we have a desire not to drink, we're in, if we say we're in the fellowship, and that's as far as it goes. And then we can start learning how other people do this, and start learning how it can work for us, just on an individual basis. So the greatest gift for me is I got my ears back so I could listen. I got my senses back because I stopped drinking. But it didn't take away the pain of life. And life can be very painful and very difficult. If it weren't, what would be the point? So if life is difficult and we find happiness along the way, that is a gift. And knowing the difference between the two. So rather than medicating my life away with people, places, things which I thought I was in control of, and thinking I was in control of life, I actually live life as it is, hopefully, without worrying too much about what others may think of me or what others are doing. It's none of my business. So what have I learned in my first step on the fellowship program? That I'm powerless over alcohol, and if I take a drink, life would be unmanageable. And I share about AA here, the fellowship, what its intentions are. Not dogmatic, simply it's full of unique, authentic people. Not special and different, just unique and authentic, not special and different, finding a way to live life and be productive in a sense of finding happiness as happiness can be. We don't have to manufacture it. Happiness comes with endeavour. So what is AA? I share the statement of intent and then something from the literature. And these videos are really for people who can't get to a meeting for whatever reason, or just a mental jogger, or actually for me to slow me down and remind me of what is good for me, rather than going back and trying a bit more research or convincing with another drink. So AA, Alcoholics Anonymous, is a fellowship of men and women who share their experience, strength and hope with each other, that they may solve their common problem and help others to recover from alcoholism. The only requirement for membership is a desire to stop drinking. There are no dues or fees for AA membership. We are self-supporting through our own contributions. AA is not allied with any sect, denomination, politics, organisation or institution, does not wish to engage in any controversy, neither endorses nor opposes any causes. Our primary purpose is to stay sober and help other alcoholics to achieve sobriety. And the gift in all of that for me is share it and learn from others, experience, strength and hope. And I go to meetings of AA most days because I meet my friends in fellowship, and fellowship helps me make the rest of my life work. So it's integral and a part of, and helps me live in the day and function and be a part of society. Sounds altruistic, but you know, all it means is I can be me at the end of it. I can just be me, and if I can be helpful and a part of and enjoy life, I think that is part of the primary purpose of living. Anyway, just a bit on daily reflections, because I'm almost out of time. It says here, January 16th, hitting bottom. Why all of this insistence that every AA must hit bottom first? That's a rock bottom where it just seems like we can't go any further. The answer is that few people will sincerely try to practice the AA program unless they have hit bottom. For practicing AA's remaining 11 steps means the adoption of attitudes and actions that almost no alcoholic who is still drinking can dream of taking. And the gift in that is that if we're an alcoholic and we're still drinking, we can't see very much of life at all. But if we actually start to embark on a 12-step action program to change our attitude and behaviour on a daily basis, starting with step 1, powerless over alcohol and life is unmanageable if we take a drink, then we know if we don't take a drink and life gets more manageable, we don't try and think we can go back and make life work with drinking, we have a fair chance at the other 11 steps. So for me, the serenity prayer, which is to God, good conscience, or something in us, that inner connection to what we know is good for us. When I say it many times a day, if things are not going too well, God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change today, courage to change the things I can today, and the wisdom to know the difference simply is, for me, and always will be, just for today.